When it comes to learning difficulties like dyslexia, lasting change starts with the right approach. At the Morris Center, we go beyond traditional tutoring, offering comprehensive, evidence-based programs that retrain the brain for lifelong success. With over 35 years of experience, we've helped thousands of clients overcome learning challenges in just months, not years. Find out how we can help your child succeed at themorriscenter.com.
This is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network. Welcome to the Vintage Homeschool Mom Show. Your host, Felice Gerwitz, is an author, a publisher, and your radio show host. She will encourage, educate, and inspire you with answers to your most pressing questions from homeschool, marriage, parenting, and much more. Felice loves to equip moms to live a Christian life because every moment counts. Be sure to visit her website at mediaangels.com. And here's your host, Felice Gerwitz.
Hey friends, and welcome. Are you ready to declutter your life and make things easier for yourself and your family? Well, in this podcast, we are going to look at the things that hold you back and how to declutter in a way that's super effective. Well, welcome to today's show. My name is Felice Gerwitz, and the topic is, if you haven't guessed it already, declutter your life. This is episode 546, and you can find today's show notes at vintagehomeschoolmoms.com or on your favorite podcast app. Also, if you would give me a star rating and share this program with one of your friends, it really helps us to get found, to get those ratings as well as the shares. We really appreciate that. And check out other homeschool episodes and family episodes at the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. I want to thank our friends at Now Programs. I wholeheartedly agree with their approach, which is don't accommodate, remediate. Check out the website today at nowprograms.com. Well, I hope you're looking forward to this episode as much as I'm looking forward to sharing this information with you. As I'm recording, I'm in the midst of a new year, and I'm in the process of cleaning up all of my files. The house has been put together for the most part, but the end of the year files need to be labeled, stored, and accessible this year as I prepare to file New Year's receipts. It's a chore I typically dread and I push off as long as I can. But this year, I'm mentally prepared for the paperwork mess. And I decided to not only take inventory of the old files, but also to look at my life in the same way. When I store the files, I look at things I need to keep, essential records I need to have on hand, and receipts I can throw away, such as from the grocery store or retail stores. I file the papers I need for tax time or house repairs, and I keep a file of warranty items as well. Those files stay available throughout the year, weeding out the items I no longer have. I especially made an effort to categorize my kids' homeschool papers at this time so I could show a progression of the year's work. This is especially important if you opt to have a homeschool evaluation instead of having your kids take a standardized test. And even if you do, it's nice to see a progression of your kids' work so you can look back and see where you were at the beginning of the year and how the kids have progressed as the year has gone on. Sometimes I was overwhelmed with sorting and filing, and when I restarted my homeschooling in January, or truthfully after any holiday like Thanksgiving or Easter, or whenever we took an extended period of time off, it wasn't easy to jump back in, except for the new school year. And I think because I made it a super exciting time. I created an energized back-to-school atmosphere. The kids look forward to getting some new school supplies and books, and they were excited about whatever our topics of study were. Even if I was using textbooks, which I did for a season, especially after I had a baby, I would introduce something that would be a fun topic that we would study, a short little unit study, and this kept the kids' interest. Well, the mess adds to the chaos, and it can become overwhelming, and I admit that. But we all lead busy lives, so if I give you a list of 10 things to accomplish, it's going to be counterproductive. Instead, I'd like you to think about things incrementally. And I tend to do that. I do things in short spurts, and I try really hard to set aside some time, or for example, 2 days a week where I'm going to take 15 or 20 minutes or an hour if I have that luxury, and get some of the tasks on my to-do list completed. It's an incremental approach that really works for me. You can call it one step at a time if that's helpful. What are some actionable things you can do in a short amount of time and find a measure of success? These are some things that I've done over the years. I've gotten up earlier than my kids, which helps me increase my time. I accidentally did this the other day. My husband set his alarm for about an hour earlier than I typically get up. And so I ended up getting up when his alarm went off, thinking that it was my alarm. And so when I came out to the kitchen, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, did I wake you?" And I said, "No, I was ready to get up." And then I said, "Well, what time is it?" And when I noticed the time, I was like, "Oh my goodness. Well, I'm up anyway, so what am I going to do with all of this extra time?" And I was amazed at how productive I became. So I did this typically when I was homeschooling my kids so that I could get some time in for the things I wanted to do, whether it was, a short Bible reading or to journal or just to spend some time with God. And then I really recommend you recharge daily or twice a day if time permits. For me, this was just some time of having a bath at night. I know some of you love showers and would never even consider taking a bath, but whatever that is for you, think about, what can I do to recharge? Whatever that little bit of time that you can have is important. And then setting aside time to work on personal projects. Is there something that you've been meaning to get done? Maybe you scrapbook, or you've got some kind of craft that you like to do. Whatever that is, having just a little bit of time set aside is really helpful. We all need to recharge, and if it's not early in the morning, then when is it going to be? Maybe you're a night owl and it's late at night, or it's midday while the kids are eating lunch. Set aside time, 5, 10, or 15 minutes to take a breath and just let your mind relax. This isn't a time to make a bunch of lists or get done all of the stuff that you think you need to get done in this tiny little pocket of time. And I would always have a paper handy where I could jot a note down. I didn't have my phone handy because that meant that I would jump on or get on social media. Or another thing I found, especially with having a business, is I didn't check any work emails until after lunchtime. I figured that if it was something really terrible, that they had my phone number and they would call. But it really helped to put things in perspective. I could jump on, answer emails, during lunch or right after lunch, and then I found that I could get work accomplished that way. During a really busy season in my life, I put myself last, and when I eventually began having chronic migraines, I needed to reevaluate. So don't let yourself get to that point. Praise God, I learned it was an easy fix for me. I drank copious amounts of water. This is from a person who didn't like drinking a lot of water or carrying around my sippy cup, as I called it. But then I also learned that if I could add salt to my diet, I know some of you are like, I can't eat a lot of salt, but that was one of the things that I found out, that I was salt deficient. So there could be an easy fix if you're getting sick, but I learned that stress is a big indicator, especially with migraines. Decluttering your life takes a one-syllable word that has 2 letters. Do you know what that is? Did you guess no? You're correct. No was so freeing for me, and it was a blessing when I focused on my own physical and spiritual health, my spouse, home, and my kids over planning homeschool co-ops or field trip planning for large groups, or staging a play for 200 kids where I rewrote the play so everyone could have at least some little part. Yes, I did do this for 2 years in a row. I eventually learned that I had trained the other homeschool moms to rely on me to get things done, and I found out that if I set aside one project, okay, I'm no longer going to do the homeschool plays. Well, something else took its place. So I really had to reevaluate my life and where I was going, and realizing that all of this time and energy that I was putting in was helpful, but not to my family. And I'm not saying that you don't help out and there's not a season for this, because there can be. But I know that most homeschool moms jump in as new homeschoolers and quickly burn out. And truthfully, that's what happened to me. Most of us are highly capable, or we wouldn't be homeschooling. We can multitask with the best of them. But seriously, this takes a toll on your family. So saying no is my number one way to declutter even today. Another is looking at my tasks, setting up a day to complete them, and adding a time element. I started Media Angels when I had 2 children and I was pregnant with my third, and no, I didn't plan this. And then I had 2 more children, all while running a thriving business. And with 5 kids, I knew that traveling and speaking extensively was the norm for most authors, but my husband and I decided we'd keep it local and within our state. We had a few trips out of state, and then we realized it just wasn't going to work for us. Well, praise God, online conferences became a thing, and thank goodness for podcasts, and subsequently, I started this network in 2013. So I'm just sharing this story with you to say that, we ended up having to decide what's more important in our family and putting that as a priority. As I share this with you, my kids are grown up. My youngest is going to be 25 this year. I have, 9 grandchildren, and I want to be able to spend time with my family, and I analyze many of my homeschool decisions as I share with you in these broadcasts. That's where the vintage comes from. But I had to decide early on to focus on my family over my business. And I know many homeschool vendors are successful. In fact, many of them are my friends and they podcast on this network. But I knew for us, working full time wasn't going to work out. Making a decision as a family is so important. And I will never regret not leaving my kids and flying all over and speaking. And it was difficult. I'm not going to say it was, really easy to do. But I found that God provided. Even though I couldn't travel, my books traveled everywhere. What is a big decision you need to make this year? And how can you compromise as a family? Set your priorities, discuss with your spouse, and if you can, work out a plan, including your kids. And so this is something that you can do and be successful at. And it makes for a peaceful relationship with your spouse. Working together as a family is something I treasure, whether it was going to a conference all together or helping to clean the house and make meals or do laundry. We were all in this together, and we still are a close family. Simplifying also means organization, and I've written some great planners. In fact, one of my favorites is the 12-month organizing and goal setting bundle, and you can find that at MediaAngels.com, and there's a link within the show notes if you want to grab that. In fact, you can find today's show notes at VintageHomeschoolMoms.com, episode 546, Declutter Your Life, and you can find it there. So, think about these things and figure out what works for you. What is going to be the thing that is going to make your life easier and that of your family? What is the things, one of the things I found is that if I didn't have a clean surface, it didn't help me to declutter mentally. So I made sure that my kitchen counter was not overly cluttered. I had a workspace where I could work on my books or any of the projects that I needed to get done without having to move everything when I was completed. So I had a workspace that was as much as possible decluttered. I'm a little guilty I'm feeling a little bit guilty as I share this with you because my office is in a disarray right now. And as I'm recording this, I'm trying not to look to the right where there is a stack of things that need to be filed. So I'm going to just share that with you. It isn't always decluttered, but it does help me to mentally declutter when it is. And it is on my list of things to do. And then also with your school books and materials, do they have a home? Sometimes people use bins. I went to a friend's house one time and she had all of these wonderfully labeled bins that she used for her kids that they had all of their papers in. We had a schoolroom, with desks. So the kids either put them inside the desk, the little tops folded up, and they can put it underneath, or they would just leave it stacked on their desk. If we were doing some kind of project, I would have them put everything away. At one point, we even had shelves that were behind their desks so that they could stack and categorize their books. I cannot tell you how many of my children really made it like their project almost to lose a book. Do you have kids who do that? I did, and it was really irritating at times. So that was one of our solutions to getting rid of losing the book every other minute. Learning to say no, working together as a family, and using available resources are super helpful, and they can really help you no matter what time of the year that you need that help. And, it's looking at an incremental approach to decluttering, which is really important. The last thing I want to talk about is decluttering your social life or your personal life. What does that look like? Sadly, I've had to detach from different things through the years. One of them was social media consumption. Another was reading for pleasure. And another was toxic relationships, which was the hardest. Leaving social media is difficult for some of us. Of course, we want to catch up with family and friends. But you need to analyze how much time you spend and what you can do instead. And is it taking up your brain space? Are you sitting there wondering what so-and-so is doing and just can't wait to get on your phone or your computer to check it out? If that happens, reanalyze that. Take a specific amount of time and say, okay, I'm going to set the timer and be on social media for this amount of time. Also, do you like to read? I decided, my kids are grown up and I still run a business, but I have help. And so I'm going to start reading for pleasure. Well, I love to read. And I found that I was spending more time worrying about the characters that were taking up brain space than I was working on the things I needed to do. And then I was thinking, oh gosh, I don't really have to do that. And putting aside things that I really needed to get done. And so while I could say, wow, whoever wrote this book did a really good job, I needed to realize that I needed to reclaim my time and my headspace. I'm a 110% type of person, and that kind of personality needs to be tempered with the things that, I do and don't do. And I think, when I've told people that story, they just look at me and say, well, just, read for an hour a day. Well, I found that even doing that was taking up headspace. So, I've got some things that I want to get done, some goals, some projects I want to do for Media Angels. I want to do some classes I want to get completed, and then I'll reward myself with, reading a book. But I have to really temper it. So what is that in your life? I'm sharing something really personal here, that you need to temper. Another thing I had to look out for were toxic relationships. And what do I mean by that? Well, I've had friends who flit from one problem to another and make up a problem if there isn't one naturally occurring. And that may sound like an exaggeration, and it is a little bit. But like they were complaining about their mother-in-laws or about their husbands or about their kids or about the person at the store, and it was like, enough with the complaining. And then I kind of started listening, and it was one thing after another. And one of the thoughts that came to mind was, I wonder if this person is complaining about me to someone else. And I would just listen. And even if I didn't participate or if I was empathetic in any way, it just was even worse. So I found out that I needed to temper that relationship and really not make a lot of time and invest a lot of time in that. Homeschooling was helpful for me because I could say I just can't be on the phone because I've got to homeschool. And so this person soon learned to replace me with someone else who would listen to all their problems. And I felt like this huge weight was lifted from me. And that taught me a valuable lesson. And what it taught me was when my children started complaining, I would say, let's look at this, figure out a solution, and not just complain about it. Complaining about it is not a solution. So you need to figure out, what is the solution to your problem? And it can't just always be another person's fault. So, of course, we all complain occasionally. I'm guilty of that too. But it's those who are chronically complaining about everything and everyone that make it challenging to deal with in a positive and uplifting way. So I've made a point of focusing my day on God and prayer in some way, and this priority has helped me in my spiritual life and my outlook on life in general. So I always think of things in this way. God's got this, which encourages me as I navigate a sometimes busy and harrowing life of a wife and mother. You can check out A Few Minutes with God podcast, and that is a sister network of the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. You can go to Ultimate Christian Podcast Network and check out some of the shows there. So decluttering your life can take many forms, from organizing stuff to becoming more productive in the short term and letting go of the things that bog you down. Listen, I commend you for homeschooling. I treasure those years and hold them near and dear to my heart. And I really recommend that you take time to focus on you, your spouse, and your family. I pray this podcast has been helpful and that you refer to it from time to time if you need a reminder or some quick fixes to help you declutter your life. Well, friends, take care. God bless. Share this episode with a friend and give me a star rating on your favorite podcast app. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Vintage Homeschool Mom Show. Visit Felice at MediaAngels.com and TheVintageHomeschoolMoms.com. Vintage Homeschool Moms is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network.